Carolina This Week with Tim McGinnis.
Good morning and thanks for joining us for Carolina This Week. Coming up a little bit later in the show, we are going to hear from Nora Hembry from the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce about an initiative they have going on. But first, we're going to talk politics, 7th Congressional District politics, in fact. I want to let you know real quick about a couple of debates that are going to be coming up that you really need to watch if you're not sure who you're going to vote for. We're going to be talking with the Democratic candidates on June 5th. That debate's going to go from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. It'll be happening at Myrtle Beach High School, and it's going to be sponsored by WPDE, WMBF, and the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce. And of course, you can watch that debate live right here on News Channel 15. Then coming up just a couple of nights later on June 7th, that's a Thursday, the Republican candidates will square off. That will go from 8 o'clock until 9:30, a little bit longer because there are 4 more candidates in that race. That's also at Myrtle Beach High School, sponsored by WPDE, WMBF, and the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce. But this morning we are going to talk with our final candidate here for the 7th Congressional District, Preston Brittain, a Democrat running for office. We started talking to candidates late last year, and now here we are. You're our last one here in May. Got them all done now.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
First off, for people who aren't sure who you are, who are you? Why are you running for the seat?
Well, I'm Preston Brittain. I'm a local lawyer at the Brittain Law Firm. And I'm running for Congress because yesterday's answers aren't addressing today's concerns. We've got to move Congress in a new direction, Tim, or we're going to be in even deeper trouble. And it's really not about moving the country to the left or to the right. We've got to get focused on moving the country forward. And I think I can do that.
I want to talk about the issues first.
Sure.
In particular, the issues that are going to affect us here in the Grand Strand and the PD. Monday night, I was at a debate of the Republican candidates up in Florence, and people in Florence really want to know about jobs. They really want to know how people are going to, how their congressman is going to bring jobs back to the PD that's been hit so hard by the recession. What's your plan?
We have to invest in infrastructure and transportation. We have to create I-73. Just building the corridor would create 3,000 jobs. And it's said that 22,000 plus jobs would flow from it. That would also give us manufacturers an incentive to bring their jobs here. They don't have an incentive to be here. They need to be able to get their materials in and out of the area. And so we need to build I-73. We can also invest in dredging the port in Georgetown, another way to get manufacturers access to our district. And so that's where we begin. That's where we begin. But we also have got to train our residents here so that they're able to go out and perform the jobs, so that manufacturers will want to bring their businesses to our area.
This is a lot of investment, and I guess it's really where, you know, Democrats and Republicans say the same kind of things about infrastructure,
Certainly.
but it comes down to paying for it.
Certainly.
We're trillions and trillions of dollars in debt right now. There's going to be arguing going on over the debt for whoever the next congressman is, the first congressman is from the 7th District. How do you pay for initiatives? How do you pay to bring I-73 in, pay for education, pay to dredge the ports?
I think we all agree we have to get serious about the debt. We have to be serious about it. It's a matter of prioritizing. We know that if we invest in transportation and infrastructure, that we get a return on that investment. If we do that, we create jobs, and we give back to our economy. And so I think that's where the difference is in a Republican budget and a Democrat budget. There's a set aside to invest in transportation and infrastructure, which I think gives back. And so I think while that may not be a priority for some, it's a priority for me. This 7th District needs that road, needs I-73, and it needs the port to be the port in Georgetown to be dredged.
Let's talk about regulations for a minute. It's something that's come up. A lot of business leaders on the Grand Strand recently were lobbying in Washington because of these requirements from the ADA to put pool lifts into swimming pools here. There have been other regulations that have come down that have affected businesses here. How do you approach regulation? That seems to be another big difference between Republicans and Democrats.
Here's one where I may not be. I'm very clear that we have to be careful with how we regulate. We have to be careful. We have to be working to create jobs. We don't need to be hindering our businesses. Regulations that make sense, that are common sense, and protect people and create safety for people, I'm certainly in favor of. But we have to draw a line. We can't take that too far and become such a burden that we hinder our own economy.
I want to go back to I-73 because that is such a massive project, and it's such a depending on who you talk to, it's either a necessity or it's something that we don't need, and there are other priorities that we need to work on first. How would you work from Washington to get I-73 happening?
Well, again, you have to make certain we're investing in a budget that allows us to set aside funds to build the road. Now, while I understand people are concerned about that, and I certainly am too, our infrastructure and transportation rating is a D. We have a country that's great, and our transportation rating is a D. So I think it's time for us to invest a little bit there, and we've seen in the past when we've done that, that good things have come from it. Jobs.
Back to jobs for just another minute, just because that is such a huge issue. Are there any tax incentives that you would back for businesses? Because that's something that I think a lot of business leaders say, hey, you want me to bring more jobs in, give me more of a break on the other end.
Sure. Well, let's create tax breaks for businesses that create new jobs, and that's a pretty simple one, and we need to implement that. Secondly, we have a corporate tax rate that is very high, and it's really not very consistent. Let's create a better corporate tax rate that would incentivize manufacturers to bring their jobs here. And listen, we've got to get focused about jobs, and those are two ways we can do that.
Okay. If you're in Washington, if you get elected to this seat, what would one of the first things you do on behalf of the Grand Strand and PD be?
Well, start working on getting that road built, and we got to start there. But really, we have to protect. We have a bigger scheme too. We have to protect Social Security and Medicare. In going forward with our issues of debt, we have to prioritize. And I'm not going to let our senior citizens be left behind. Those are our lifelines for many people in our community. And I'm going to protect Social Security and Medicare. I'm going to fight Tea Party extremists who would see it end. And so that's going to be one of my top priorities, Tim.
On the scale of Democrats, do you see yourself as moderate? Do you see yourself as liberal? Do you see yourself as maybe leaning more to the right than...
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, I don't generally try to characterize myself in any particular label. And I'm running as a Democrat. I'm a Democrat. I believe in protecting Medicare and Social Security and investing in education and transportation and infrastructure.
Okay. Well, let's take a break, and when we come back, I want to talk about some of the broader national issues. We'll hit health care and our involvement overseas.
Great.
We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Good morning and welcome back. We have Preston Brittain, who's a Democrat running for the 7th Congressional District seat, with us this morning. Want to talk about some of the larger national issues now. Sure. Just about everybody on this show, with the exception of a few of the Democrats, and even a few of the Democrats agreed with the Republicans on this one, that there are parts of Obamacare that they would want to repeal. How do you feel about the health care law? Do you think that it needs to stay the way it is and be supported? Do you think it needs tweaked?
I think it can be tweaked, but I don't think repealing necessarily is the answer. Let's look at some of the things that it's done for us. I mean, if you're an individual who has a pre-existing condition and you're under the age of 18, you can't be denied insurance for that reason. In 2014, if you have a pre-existing condition and you're any age, you can't be denied insurance. That's a wonderful thing. Nobody I talk to wants to have that undone. For young adults who are looking for jobs, a lot of times out of college, looking for work, they can stay on their parents' insurance till they're 26 now. It's another great benefit, and that's, we don't want to lose that either. We're seeing that under the Affordable Care Act, preventative medicine is oftentimes covered now. So mammograms, free. Foot and eye exams for people with diabetes, free. This preventative care will save us money in the long run. In addition to that, I don't want to see the prescription donut hole be closed again. And that's an extreme burden for our senior citizens, and the Affordable Care Act addresses that. So I think it does some great things. And a lot of it hasn't. We're still seeing it all come to fruition. So let's give it a little bit of time. But I'm not for an overall repeal.
How would you pay? But how do you pay for the provisions? I think that's what the critics would say. So how are you going to? It's all wonderful on paper, but it's going to affect the employers who are just going to say, well, I may not hire those positions because it's going to cost me more to provide them health care. Yeah, well, in the Democrat budget, you see there's about a $360 billion savings in Medicare, and that's largely based on lower payments to providers and other incentives. But it certainly is an issue, but there are some things that have been addressed there in the Democrat budget that can help us pay for this. But the overall goal here is, of course, to lower cost. And if we can get to the lower cost, it'll start to benefit itself. A lot of people have said that, and as we watched some of the budget dealings, recently learned that the gang of six that we had heard about, the 3 Republicans and 3 Democrats, thought they had disappeared. They actually are still working, and they're working trying to find a way to cut these trillions of dollars from the federal budget. What are some of the things that you think should be cut from the budget?
Sure.
And where would you make a concession and say, well, you know what, maybe we do need to lose some entitlements here?
Sure, there's a lot of ways to make concessions, but the first thing is getting the right attitude in Congress. You know, it's good to hear that they're back working, or that they've been continuing to work. But we have to have an attitude of compromise and working together to get things done. And I think we need a new generation of leadership in there to help us accomplish that. The second thing is you got to treat this budget like anything else, like a family budget. We're going to have to cut some things, and there are some very easy, common sense solutions that we could apply. For instance, take delinquent contractors, billions of dollars out there waiting to be collected. Implement cloud computing in our federal database centers. It could save us $160 billion. We can also go out and get rid of 55,000 unused federal buildings, sell them off, and save billions of dollars. And I think on the other end of that, Tim, which some people may not want to hear, we have to get rid of these tax breaks for big oil and business companies. I mean, we're looking at $41 billion in savings by taking away some of those tax breaks for big oil. Like any other, like a family budget, trim some fat, and you have to bring in some extra revenue in if you can do it. Another way to do that is tax reform. I support letting the Bush tax cuts expire for the mega rich, we want to go back to the Clinton era. There were some good times in there, $230 billion surplus. We can go back to those days, but we have to let some of the things that happened during the course of President Bush's term expire.
Let's talk about our foreign policy now.
Sure.
Apparently we're going to be in Afghanistan or have a presence there until 2024, which I mentioned to a guest last week. You know, my 6-year-old son could be could be affected by this. Right. How do you look at foreign policy? How do you look at our involvement in countries like Afghanistan, Iraq, possibly Iran?
Sure. Well, nothing is more important than protecting America. Nothing's more important than having a strong defense. But I'm ready to see us come home. I'm ready to see us come home. We have a lot we need to accomplish in America, and I'm ready to see us come home. We don't have to be the world's policeman at all times. It's okay for us to take care of America. Not that we would leave them out, but we have to make sure we focus on some of our own problems right now. We've lost a lot of valuable men and women, and we don't need to continue that.
Now for the million-dollar question.
Sure.
We know that Horry County and parts of Florence County and other parts of the PD are pretty strong Republican strongholds.
Sure.
Can a Democrat really win the 7th Congressional District seat?
This Democrat can win it. I can win this seat. I'm very proud of the generations before me that have been in Horry County, my father and grandfather. We have a lot of friends here in Horry County who believe in me. And they believe in me because they know I'm going to approach this with common sense and do what's best for America to move this country forward. And I absolutely believe a Democrat can win, and you're looking at it.
All right. Final question for you.
Sure.
I ask it to everybody. Why should I vote for you?
You should vote for me because you believe in a better tomorrow, Tim. You believe in a better tomorrow, and you believe it's going to take the next generation to accomplish what hasn't been accomplished in Congress.
You brought up the generational thing. Usually that's my last question, but
Sure.
I'll ask you this too.
Fair enough.
You're pretty young. I mean,
Yeah.
I got to think. I know Jay Jordan. He told me he just turned 32.
Yes.
You're probably a little younger.
No,
Are you
Jay and I
younger?
we're the same age.
Same age.
We're the same age. We're the same age.
Young man who is hasn't held public office before.
That's right.
First seat you're going after is a pretty big one.
Certainly.
Are you qualified to do this?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And let me say this. Right now, putting more career politicians up there, that's not the kind of experience we want. We don't want career politicians. They've gotten us into this mess, and I'm here to get us out of it.
Fair enough. All right.
Thank you.
Preston Brittain, thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Tim.
Okay.
Good to see you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back with more Carolina This Week.